Cool.
Yeah, pretty much the main thing I'm looking to get out of coaching right now is
hmm
like a checklist of things to like do or work on
hmm
or keep in mind because I'm just not really sure like what to focus on right now.
Okay. What do you think your current biggest thing to work on is at the moment?
Hmm, Probably just working on making the most of like leads
hmm
and snowballing my lead.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes if I roam mid or like get things done that way,
hmm
uh, we still lose the game. So I'm thinking that's probably because I'm not doing the most that I can.
Right. Sometimes transitioning leads is hard because you're almost like orchestrating five monkeys around the map, four monkeys around the map to kind of generate the lead. Um, I completely don't blame you, and a lot of people struggle with that as well. So don't worry, we can talk about that as well. Cool. Before the game starts, I want to talk a little bit about matchups usually. Loading screens are usually a really good time to start thinking about this. So, what usually goes through your head when you're looking at, say, this matchup?
Um, well, it's two range versus two ranged, and me and Jinx are poke lane, so we're going to be looking to poke Kaisa and Renata. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking about, like during laning phase.
Okay.
Like Kaisa's generally like weak early compared to Jinx, I would think.
Mm, not necessarily. Both of them have their strengths in trading. How about the support matchup?
Renata's an AP support. I haven't gotten too much experience playing against her because she's a new champion.
hmm
Um, but generally, like she plays the same way as any AP support. If she
Yeah,
wants to use her abilities to poke, CC, whatnot.
good. So how should we trade against that?
Well, I'd play off her ability cooldowns.
Perfect. Yep. Good. I don't exactly know what her cooldowns are first rotation, but like you said, playing off cooldowns is generally the way to go. And should you worry about early jungle pressure as well?
It is Warwick. Oh wait,
Yeah.
yeah, Warwick's on their team.
Yep.
Um, he's a jungler that likes to gank, so
hmm Yeah.
yeah, compared to Sion, like Sion's probably not going to gank until like level 6.
Sounds about right. For the Warwick, it's actually very okay. Do you know the usual paths of junglers?
Um, During like the first like 5 minutes of the game, but after
hmm
that, like I have no idea. But
That's
that's
all
only
good.
because like I just keep in mind like of the crab timers
Yeah.
and like getting cheater recall off so we don't end up getting ganked.
Right. Okay. That's that's good. Now here's a question for you.
But if they, oh sorry, go ahead.
Should you cheat or recall every time?
Um, if we can get the wave so we can cheater recall, then usually I would.
hmm I'd be careful about doing it every time because the only issue with that is if you set your wave in a bad wave state, even though you do have an item advantage, but the wave state is going to be bad for the next two, and you know the jungler is going to be around bot, you put yourself in a very risky position. Um, we can go over how to spot that as well later when the waves come.
Okay.
Oh, we do a cheeky leash. Good. So I like it. A lot of very aggressive training at the moment. Um, First thing from me is to take up bush priority. So it's good that you're making your
Mhm.
way to the bush. Um, and do you know how minion aggro works basically when you're trading?
Well, when I go up to trade,
hmm
I'll like cast my ability and
Yeah,
then immediately walk back. Or here, like I tried to walk back into the bush
yeah,
to de-aggro the minions, but then she ended up warding it, so it didn't end up de-aggroing.
yeah. So good idea. Um, on top of that, do you have your attack key bound?
Like a click.
Hmm.
No, I don't.
Okay, it's a little bit of a good idea to do so, so you don't maybe like misclick a minion, even though you didn't do in this situation. The reason being, you just want to maintain that distance between you and the enemy just nicely, and it means like even if you click like outside here, can you see my cursor by the way?
I can see
Yeah,
it.
if you click like right next to there, it prioritizes champions. Cool. I'm sure you know about level 2 priority, yeah?
hmm
Good.
Almost every time I'll like ping the
Yeah.
ADC like, hey, I'm showing for
Good.
level
I
2 and
love
I
it. I
ping
love
for
it.
assistance.
Yes. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Really nice early game. Good. We shove in and we recall. Right. I wanted to ask you about the purpose of making your way mid here and this control ward. What was going on through your mind?
While I'm warding it, so my mid laner will be a little bit safer, and so my jungler, when it comes to do the crab, or if the enemy jungler shows up and does the crab, then
Hmm.
I'll see it, or if the mid laner ends up roaming.
Okay. And what purpose does this provide you in terms of objective control within the next minutes as well?
I can't see the objective timers, but I mean, I'll keep that ward there, so just I can see like if anyone's coming. What
Yeah.
do you mean by like objective?
So it's
Um,
really good that you're providing vision here. I wanted to hear that you're giving good information to your jungler for the next rotation. Do you see how he's done a full clear around top side right now? And he's probably
mhm.
going to look to back and come through bot as well. So what you've
Yeah.
told him is A, Crab's still there, which means Warwick is most likely going to be. Did they leash? Yes, they did. So probably around top as well, or kind of backed and looking to go bot as well. And it gives him really good pressure around Drake when it spawns at 5 minutes.
hmm
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Usually at that time, I also like look
Mhm.
mid to see if there's any gank opportunity, but I guess Echo ended up recalling here, so nothing to be done.
Yeah. Do you think you could have predicted that when you watched here?
Well, he was really low. I mean, if he was inting, then he would stay, and I could like
Do
pick up the kill.
you think you'd flash W as Alter?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Um, I'm a big fan of this kind of routing along the middle because then you can react to either top or bot situations as well. Um, just make sure that when you're trying to press your lead, um, personally, I think it'd be more worth going straight bot and having dictating what the wave state will going to be because they're probably going to shove in at this point.
hmm
But these are one of the situations which could have gone either way. Um, but good, good. Cool. A little micro tip here. Setting up a freeze right now would be a good idea because of what? Why?
Well, if we freeze it here,
Hmm.
then we'll be safer when Warwick comes to do his bot side camps.
Hmm.
Then he can't gank. Or if he does, then I mean he'll have to go through like the tri brush, which is not a great place
Hmm.
if he wants to do that.
I'm trying
So
to
yeah, here
think
we
of
probably
I'm trying to think of the future. So Warwick ganking is one part of it. What about the next part? Remember what I
you mean
said
like
about this ward providing you, the one in the brush?
yeah, vision for our jungler.
Yeah, and also if you want to take an early Drake, by creating a freeze here, it allows you and your ADC to break it whenever you want so that you get a slow push building towards their turret.
Okay.
So that's kind of a little sneaky move in saying, okay, so if we send this bunch of minions over to your tower, you can decide either by contesting us at Drake and losing all those minions, or you can do the minions under your turret, but then lose Drake.
Mhm.
You see how you're trying to create a win-win scenario with your freeze right here.
Would freezing or would setting up the freeze just be last hitting the minions?
Oh, good question. So freeze, the best way for you to do that in this scenario, so after we trade, is draw all the minion aggro up towards this corner. So you're going to pull the
Oh, so it
minions
doesn't
and try
crash.
to get them focused. Yeah. So the crash between the enemy's wave, and your wave will be right here, right outside of turret range.
Okay.
So I thought you were moving towards the draw it up right there.
Uh,
But if you could do that, that would be spectacular play. But yeah, when in doubt, it's safer to freeze. Cool. And how comfortable are you helping ADCs farm on a turret?
I usually don't.
Okay. It might be a good idea to get a little bit of a grasp for it as well. One more thing on top of this that you can do as a high class kind of support is play with the vision as well. So, for example, in this location, the enemies know that you guys are trying to freeze here, and you can just play right outside of the vision right here of the minions where you're still in XP range, but the enemies don't know where you are. So instead of just kind of like wandering back and forth, play more with a bit more. Give them a bit of uncertainty, you know.
You mean like stand up like toward the tri brush?
Yeah. So up here basically.
Here I wasn't sure if they recalled or where they went, so I was being kind of wary about walking.
I was about to say just walking up like this is extremely dangerous.
Mhm.
Even though we do
Yeah,
have
at that
vision
point I
forward.
just kind of figured. I kind
Yeah,
of figured they probably recalled. I mean, like with their lane, they could probably just cheese if they wanted to. That's why I was being kind of careful.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
So we know recall, instant shove. This
Yeah.
is good. And what are we going to transition this into afterwards?
Uh, well, here I ended up just staying at the tower, which is not a good choice because I could have gone mid, or I probably should have just recalled here. One of those two options because we don't really get anything done.
Yeah,
Like
you get.
usually, sometimes I'll stay to hit the tower and get my support item stacks, but
Mhm.
I'm scared of getting pulled by Renato, right? So I don't walk up that far to be able to hit the tower.
Yeah, if there's one thing I can give you a bit of advice on is to think about it simply. I like to break things down into simple concepts. So if you have a huge wave and you're shoving towards the turret, you're in a attacking phase. You have the pressure
Hmm.
because A, you have minion numbers advantage, and
Right.
potentially you might be in a position to trade. And if they lose the trade, then they lose the minions too if they die, right?
Hmm.
Same thing when the wave's pushing back to you, you're almost in a kind of defensive phase unless a good opportunity presents itself. So being aggressive in this case isn't necessarily a bad thing, because A, you get plates, and B, you know your jungler's nearby as well. So that's okay in that scenario.
Okay.
If you didn't know where the jungler is, that would be a completely different story. Great bubble. Oh, and this should be a kill. Or almost.
Yeah, I think I just shoved here
Yeah, this is
and then
perfect.
recall.
Good. Keep a one eye on Warwick as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like trying to shove as fast as possible so we can
Yeah.
just leave.
Perfect. So I don't know if your ADC knows this, but maybe communicate that you can see him with your pings here would be nice as well. So after you shove, just
Mm.
back off, recall. There's nothing more to get.
Yep.
Fantastic. Good. You're demonstrating really good awareness, by the way. Like, this is good stuff. Good pings. And mid laners are moving back as well. I'd be very careful walking into the tri brush right now.
Oh
Considering,
yeah, we did see them go into our jungle.
yeah. So they're walking into your jungle and you're like, oh, you know what? I fancy just face tracking this bush. Um, Slightly risky. Cool. Good. I'm interested in why you held your bubble for so long there
Um,
in this scenario.
I don't know. I just didn't cast it in time.
There. I want you to always think about your bubble as either I think you demonstrate it really well when you get your six as well, where you combo your R into your Q. So remember that any other people's stuns as well also provides you with a
Right, right.
guaranteed Q as well. Um, so yeah, just a little bit of a preemptive kind of thought as well. Would you dive here?
I'm not six yet. Oh, I'm almost gonna be six.
Okay.
Probably not, unless we have sign to help us.
Okay. Why?
Um, I guess because it comes like the issue of who's taking the tower, which would be me,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, it's kind of like a risky play, I guess.
Okay.
Of like
The
blowing all stuff right before dragon shows
Yeah.
up.
So the aggressive support player in me would definitely dive this considering she's still 5, and you have a lot to deny her. And we also know junglers respawning as well.
Okay.
So based on those factors, I think it's okay, and you can probably tank 2 tower shots, and in that time, Jinx would be able to kill. Um, Hopefully, if all your combos land, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would have R queued, W ignited.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to almost kind of limit test it a bit, if you will. You see how she's isolated here. Back then when she
Yeah.
was walking like that. That would have definitely been a kill opportunity too. So right here when they're
Then if I
walking like
just press
this,
R.
yeah, if you pressed R along this area, she either dodges this way, which means into the path of Jinx, or she gets hit by the thing and your full combo.
Okay.
So that was a lethal scenario as well. Like I'm not sure why you guys are so afraid of fighting, considering you both have 6, and they are 5 and 6 as well. Cool. Oh, Jinx messed up there. Great stuff. We can talk
Yeah,
a little bit
usually I wouldn't
about.
really think of, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, sorry. What were you gonna say about the tower dive?
Usually I don't really think about tower diving when they're full HP, like if our jungler's not there.
Mm-hmm.
So because if they're full HP, like they have everything, right?
Yeah.
And then we use everything, to me it's not like really worth it if we don't end up killing them.
Is that because you don't think your full combo will kill them 100 to 0?
Yeah. Like if the ADC doesn't like commit with me.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's a genuine concern as well.
Yeah,
My
or maybe I
question
should
to
just like ping that I'm diving them.
Yeah, no, my question to you is, do you have a ADC duo that you play with?
Not regularly. I don't really do
Why not?
well. I don't know. Well, I've been told like doing is not good unless the person you're playing with like you actually have like a plan and they're the same or higher rank than you because it affects your MMR.
Interesting. Why would that be a hindrance to you?
I don't know. Like to me, I'd rather just play with like four randos than play with somebody that I know because it does like affect your decision making and stuff. Well, to me at least. Like I
Right.
wouldn't be on comms with them or anything
Okay.
because that would just be more distracting.
If I flip it onto the other side, what if you got really good synergy with the ADC and you didn't even have to waste time communicating because you already know what your partner is going to do?
Um, I mean, I guess that'd be fine, but I don't know. I just prefer like playing ranked by myself. It
Okay.
feels better like ranking up alone
Fair,
than with
fair.
somebody else.
Hmm. One bonus tip here that you can do is as you're walking over to Rift, is if you pink this bush right here, ooh, this one right here,
Mm.
it allows for a couple of things. It means that the enemies don't want to face check this if you guys are all stacking in the bush, and that gives you a lot more space to do Rift Herald. And you also get to choose to either do Rift Herald or stack in the bush.
Okay, so I should put it in that river bush instead of the pixel.
Yeah, because you get a lot
Okay.
more control and you can defend that a lot easier if you're sieging mid turret, and it puts a lot more pressure. All right, great. I want to also cover another concept called spoils of war. Have you heard of it?
It sounds like a champion passive or something where
Yeah,
you
they're
get
all
like a
like,
ton of gold.
yeah, 50. They're all the passes are super long now. What it refers to is if you gain temporary control of an area, the best thing that you can do is provide vision for a future play. So, for
Okay.
example, in this case, if we've gained really good control of this entire jungle area right here, if these two wards weren't there, I'd recommend you pop wards all over the area as well. So,
Yeah, usually I would.
yeah, this is a great idea of how to basically carry your lead further. Have you ever been in those games which is like the enemies have stopped you so far you're afraid to even walk into your own jungle?
Yeah, those are like the feels bad games.
Yeah, exactly. You can do that to the enemy by giving your team the best information that it can with this kind of spoils of war concept. So if
Mm,
you win a fight in their jungle, if you get an objective around any control, whether that be Drake, whether that be Baron, drop a few wards as you're walking through back, and this A provides information if they rotate across the map and lets you
right.
set up the other area, or it allows your team to know, okay, they're not there, so they're probably going to be on the same side of the map as us.
Hmm.
So cool, we get the rift, and we back off. So interesting item choice, by the way. You go for full completed first mythic over boots. Why?
Um, I mean, I just figured like a whole mythic item is better than just getting to lane a little bit faster.
Okay. Hmm. All right, we'll talk about that later. But it's
Mm,
up to personal choice. Personally, I
okay.
like having a bit of movement speed, but that's fine.
Like if I were the ADC, like I'd rather have like a full like Gale Force or Immortal Shield build than attack speed boots.
Yeah, I would have flash queued this, by the way, but completely up to personal preference because that was definitely a killer. Oh, okay, we got the Silent Train. Interesting, nice. Yeah, beautiful play. Absolutely. Ooh, by the skin of his teeth. Good. Two quick things for me while sieging is make sure you're not going to get TP flanked. So I would be sweeping all the way through this as we're walking up to siege. Other
Okay.
than that, that's good. Cool. I really wouldn't be afraid of stepping up right here. You guys are 2v1 scenario right now, and Echo can't one shot at this point. It becomes a 2v2. Great Q. Really good.
Yeah, here I'm just like trying my best to appeal for her.
Yeah, no, 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 that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't think I live in that situation.
No. What is Xerath doing over there? Is he taking Rift? But Rift's not even up. Oh, he's taking the
Taking
Scuttle
scroll maybe?
Crab. My
Yeah.
god. I definitely saw him bop. Oh no. This, by the way. Mm.
What pinging shit heal?
The pinging. it's it's a okay, do you think it's a bad habit? It's a bit of a leading question really, but
Um, I mean, it's just kind of like a triggering thing,
yeah.
right? Like I could have lived for a little bit longer if she just
Hmm.
missed heal.
Yeah. One of the ideas behind pinging is it's supposed to communicate relevant information to your teammates. Um, if you're looking back on a scenario after and going like, "Wow, that wasn't so good. We could have played
Mhm.
that better," that kind of thing. Having some sort of negative kind of reinforcement of what happens is usually less productive. So
Mhm.
what I'd recommend is channel that kind of frustration, that anger into emotes, because
Okay.
it doesn't really trigger anyone. Well, you can, but less so than pinging. Because how would you feel if that ping was directed towards you?
Um, well, for me personally, I don't care because I have my chat disabled. So if my teammates want to be tilted, then they can be tilted. But
Mm.
yeah, you're right. It's probably not a good idea to like spam ping that my teammates didn't do something because it's not really helpful.
And I completely relate that it feels like the thing you want to do in the moment because oh you're just so frustrated that that play could have gone better, right?
Hmm.
So this is rather risky. I like the idea that you're going for deep wards, but this is very risky.
Hmm. Well, I
Improvement.
see Warwick and Graves top, so I know they're
Okay.
there. I see Echo mid and Renata's bot. And none
Oh,
of them are
okay, okay, okay.
rotating.
There.
The only person that's missing is Kai'Sa.
All right. Improvement on the ward here. Put it in the crossroads. You get much more information than in the bush. Cool. This should be a kill. Where's Drink Salt? There it is.
Tragic.
Oh, okay, that should have gone differently.
Hmm.
Okay, wait,
Yeah, I
let's
want
watch
to just
it.
get the tower before trying to kill her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the fact that she's even staying right now is completely int. It's like,
Right, like she should be dead.
no, she should have just backed off all the way to her second turret. I'm surprised Jinx didn't ult this, but
Hmm.
he also had Ignite, but I didn't think you needed Ignite to kill her anyways, so I think it's just a misplay on Jinx's part. Good. Let's talk about pressing our lead right now. So you guys have taken tier 1. What's usually the best step to do after this?
Well, I already put the wards down,
Hmm.
and Dragon is coming up.
Okay.
So if I didn't have wards already, then I'd just go do that or recall. But since the objective is here, then I'm just grouping to do it.
Okay. Good. Have you heard of the 90-second rule, by the way?
No.
All right. So before an objective spawns, your ward should already be down 90
Oh,
seconds
yeah,
before it
yeah.
spawns. When's the latest time you can recall? Ooh,
Before Dragon
yes,
or
before
before an
dragon
objective,
spawns.
30 seconds probably.
A bit longer, around 40.
Okay.
So 8 seconds to channel recall and around 30 seconds to walk if you have tier 1 boots. A little bit less if you have tier 2. So putting that into perspective, you need to give your team the best information around an objective before it spawns. So your ward should be down 90 seconds and make sure you recall before 40.
Right.
Here, by the way, remember the thing about the stun following up any of the enemy stun. So I know Xerath is probably going to look for a stun on Echo, so my finger's ready on that cue. Yeah.
Right. But I'm also looking at Warwick. Like, I don't want him to ult my ADC, so I'm also saving my ult for that.
Okay. All
See
right.
what he does.
Yeah.
Well, I missed cute, so it didn't working out. But yeah,
Fair.
because like I'm just trying to think of what's gonna happen before I use my abilities, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a completely fair point too. Cool thing. When you shove for a mid-tier tier, or mid-tier one, make sure you've got. Oh, unlucky those traps didn't trigger. Make sure you've got vision over that wall, by the way. One right here.
About the Raptors.
Yeah, just for any flank. You cover both your flank locations. Really good restraint. And as we're moving back, same concept with Spoils of War. Let's drop a ward right outside tier 1 as well. That ward
Before I leave.
provides,
Okay.
yeah, that ward provides a lot of information if their mid laner roams top side or bot side, especially after they clear a wave. Ah, where's our pink? Are we not buying a pink?
I didn't get it because my pink is still in the bot side pixel.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but what is that going to provide for you if you guys are going for a rift?
True. Should I just like found another one and replaced it?
You should buy one and use it to deny enemies vision if the situation arises for it. So you can always just have one spare in your inventory if you have the gold for it.
Okay.
Great. Perfect play from you guys. I think you guys are just so far ahead that any fight is like a victory. Cool. Tell me what the macro movement is right now. The best spread your resources.
Well, right now I'm thinking that we want to give it a Rift because they're objective bounties and it's free because they're all dead.
Mm-hmm.
Or like half of us could go and then the other half can get mid tower, which would be ideal.
Good. How far should you push?
Um, we're there for 20 seconds, and it'll take us like a bit to do the Rift Herald, so probably just get tier 1 and then get the Rift Herald and recall.
Good. Demonstrate really good restraint. And what are we going to do after we finish the tier 1?
Uh, like where we're gonna drop the Rift Herald?
Your wards. Spoils of War.
I'd probably just go around bot side and drop wards.
Yeah. Why would you go around bot side and not top?
Because we just took the Rift Herald, so there's nothing there.
Yes, because Drake will be spawning in about a bit as well. So you're thinking ahead onto the next rotation.
Oh, I do top side. What am I doing?
Ooh.
Oh, I guess because they keep pushing. So I want to see in case they come and contest.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if you ran into Graves up here, so it's very dangerous to go for you to ward alone. Because I reckon you definitely could have been sniped out. You know you can hit the eye, right?
Yeah, I have a hard time like kiting around it.
Okay, fair. With the eye, you don't have to be directly behind it. You just have to be past its perpendicular point.
Okay.
That makes. Oh, the bubble lands. Perfect. Oh, Just a quick tip from me here before face checking river like this. You should walk over to this edge and drop a ward over. This gives you a lot more information to face check any sort of this area. If they're in the bush, well, so be it. But if they're just hanging around the corner, you save yourself walking all the way around and not escaping. Really good ping communication from you there. Alright, let's talk about the idea of approaching a Drake fight, by the way. Where should you position yourself usually?
In the back. With Jinx, in this case. Like Scion, ideally be our engage.
Mm-hmm.
And then Xerath would be backline DPS.
And seeing where the majority of the enemy's positioned, um, we're probably going to be approaching it from top side over here. Given that kind of information, and if we needed to look for a flank, I wanted to cover this path, this one that you're in currently, with potentially a ward in the tri-bush to spot any sort of flank, and I just approach from the back line as well. So at the moment, being over here with Cho'Gath is not really like earlier. Sorry, I meant like around this area. I would just stayed with Jinx up here. I
I would
wouldn't
just
have
like
moved down.
walk through.
Yeah,
Okay, walk
yeah,
through river.
yeah. The fact that you'd need to a face check this bush is very dangerous. Even though we do see everyone there.
Yeah, that's why I'm like kind of covering. I don't want to walk
Mhm.
straight there if everyone isn't with me.
Yeah, because wasn't Warwick around there? Oh, Warwick went down. Okay, yeah, good. Cho'Gath is just too tanky. Good. So that's the first VOD. The concepts that we kind of talked about, or the ones that, or why don't you tell me? What do you think were the biggest things you learned from there?
Main thing is like the warding.
Mm-hmm.
I think in general, like I'd put the wards in the right areas, but just small things like dropping it mid or putting it in the intersections rather than the bushes,
Mm-hmm.
or dropping the pink, uh, like where I need it instead of just leaving it at a previous place.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, so that was that. Um, Going for like dive plays, that was the other thing. Yeah, those are the two like major things that I took away.
Great. I completely wholeheartedly agree with that. At the moment, if you are looking to push your lead even more, after you take tier 1, the best spot for you and your ADC to usually go is rotate mid. After you put pressure on the tier 1 in the mid lane, you have a lot more options to either go Rift, to go Drake, if your mid laner is willing to rotate. Yeah?
Mhm. Yep.
Cool. Would you like a quick 5 minute break before we hop into the next VOD?
No, I'm good. Let's go.
Okay. Straight into it. I like it. We get a friend request. Was it from the Jinx?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. It's always a little bit flattering, isn't it?
Yeah, like, oh wow.
Oh wow. Yeah. Cool. I think the second game we play Zyra. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this game will be probably better to VOD review because I lost this game.
Personally, looking at that kind of matchup, Zyra Twitch versus Nautilus Vayne, just looking at their team comp just makes me want to dodge. I'm not gonna lie.
Uh, I mean, I think lane is okay because Vayne is short range, and Nautilus
Mm-hmm.
is melee,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and yeah, so they want to come into us, and Zyra would just poke both of them down, which I think I do end up doing. So
Mm-hmm.
lane is okay.
Lane is
Um,
okay. Mid to late game seems
yeah,
like pain for Twitch.
yeah, but it's whatever. I don't really dodge.
Do you not? Why not?
I mean, I figured like it's low elo. It's not like it's not really worth it. Like, I'd rather just play the game. Because even if the team comp isn't in our favor,
Mm-hmm.
there's a pretty good chance that they'll just end. And even if they don't end, like it's just one loss. And the main point of me playing is not to well, it is to win, obviously, but like to improve as well.
Yeah. Fair. Fair.
The only time I would really dodge is like if they have a Master Yi and I pick well, usually if they pick Master Yi, I'll pick Lulu. That's the only like hard choice that I'll make.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I pick anybody else, like Master Yi just runs any other enchanter down. Like Nami, if I pick Nami, I have to wait for him to queue before I cast my own Q, right?
Yeah.
But then by the time I bubble him, like I'm already almost dead.
True.
Versus Lulu who has like point click W.
If he ran lethality, you would be dead. Cool. One thing is Nautilus always, or not always, but has a very high chance to invade. So,
Mhm.
how can you provide the best safety for your team?
Well, the safe thing to do would be just to drop a ward in the tri brush,
Uh huh.
I would think.
Yes.
Um,
Whenever there's a
but the
high.
thing,
Sorry, go ahead.
but the thing is, like, if I drop my ward there, I won't have it for lane. So to
Is that
me, having
necessarily a bad thing?
grenade is more valuable.
Mm,
Um, I don't know, getting bush control versus Nautilus is kind of important. Like, I don't want him standing in the bush invisible and being scared of his hook.
I completely agree. On the off chance that they decide to cheese you level 1 in this bush as well, that would be a bigger threat to you if you get shoved out level 1.
Hmm.
Twitch is not an early game champion, um,
Right.
but Not is very heavy at punishing people who are immobile, basically. Um, so I would say that providing your ward here to prevent A, the invade, and B, the cheese, is a bigger for using your ward here when you can play around minions and also your plants in lane.
Okay. Is that for all champions that like want to invade or have a hook?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Blitzcrank, like
exactly.
whatever. Okay.
Blitzcrank, Thresh, Nautilus. I'd even go as far to say Braum or someone like that who has a
Mhm.
tendency to cheese a brush if you're not in it. And if you're using yourself as a kind of ward, um, sitting around here is kind of dangerous because they can sneak all up along this wall and literally hook you, and you won't see them until you're here. So make sure you're either positioned out here where you're ready to dip in to avoid the hook here, or you can see them from a mile away over here.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure most supports really dislike playing against Nautilus, don't they?
Why?
Because his hook is massive, and it seems like there's usually, or maybe it's just my students that always complain about Nautilus being broken in low
Oh,
elo.
because his hook is like really fat.
Yeah. Really good pressure from you though.
Mhm.
I like that you're taking the initiative to see after he hooks, you're abusing it. So that's really good from you. Really good with level 2 prio.
Honestly, I think there are worse hook champions. Like Thresh and Blitzcrank, their hitbox always is like wonky.
Mm-hmm. True.
I feel like that happens less with Nautilus.
Really, this is a kill angle. Perfect. I love it. I love the aggressiveness. I wish all my students had this kind of like um want to get that level 2 prio. Like that's perfect. Um yeah, great. Really good stuff.
Yeah, usually if I'm playing an enchanter here, like with Twitch, like the main thing is just making sure you can farm safely. But when I play Zyra, like I'm looking to kill and be the carry.
Steal all the kills. I see, I see, I see. There. Good. Really nice. So same thing here. You're in a bit of a rhythm where you kind of always look to go mid. Chances are you going to catch Pike?
Uh, no.
Does Malzahar
Unless
have
he.
a
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah? Does Malzahar have any sort of CC pre-6?
Nope.
Yeah. So unless Pike massively is pushing into your turret, then chances are, if the mid laner doesn't need some sort of roam, sorry, doesn't need some sort of roam, more like the possibility of getting a kill is low. I'd
Mhm.
prefer you to more play preventative in keeping Twitch alive than going mid. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I like the intention of going mid every single time, but I think what you also miss out on is potentially a little bit of XP, which could stop you from getting 6 for the later fight as well.
Mhm. Well, the main thing about going mid is just making sure I get the pink ward in here,
Oh, okay.
and then I
Right.
kind of look, and then yeah, there's nothing to do, so I just walk back foot.
Okay. Good. Really good restraint to not clear that pink. We don't greed for wards. Cool.
Objectives
On
are
the
no
off,
less than many things.
yeah. On the off chance not is in the bush, this was probably the most risky thing you've done so far. Um,
I walk up.
walk out in front of your minions right at this moment,
Right, but we
right
see
here.
Nautilus clearing the ward.
Yeah. Oh wait. Oh, sorry. Did I? Was he on camera? Okay, fair. That's fine. And you know that your plants can block his hook, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay. The question is, can you react fast enough to that with 100 ping?
definitely not. Yeah, I wouldn't like walk in his
No.
face and WQ in front of me.
Yeah, that'd be
That's
kind of
definitely not worth it on my part.
yeah, very ball. That would be very ballsy of you.
Mm.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Every time you have a little bit of a yeah, great stuff, great stuff. Really great book. And remember, this is only okay because we know Amumu's nearby, so he acts as a bit of a ward for
Mhm.
us, basically. If this was not the
Yeah,
case,
Nocturne's top.
absolutely not. Good. I'm not sure. So you could probably call for a dive here, by the way. I don't know why Amumu's going Gromp. You've got
Yeah,
large wave
I thought
stacked.
he wanted to. That's why
Yeah,
he came around that way.
yeah,
But
um,
yeah, cause their bot lane just can't play the game at this point.
yeah. Nocturne's top as well. So maybe ping and then just say,
Okay.
"Hey, let's be aggressive here. Let's poke these bastards out of lane so they
Hmm.
don't get to have fun." Honestly, I think Ignite would have killed him there with Twitch passive. But oh well.
Yeah, that's like a bad habit of mine. I only press ignite if I'm like consciously going in.
Hmm.
I kind of forget I have it sometimes if it's the other way around.
Good stuff. We're clearing pinks. Cool. And we see Nocturne in mid lane. We're free to have a little bit more pressure in the bot lane right now. Good. Straight into
Mm.
Drake. Cool. So note how here, um, I reckon you could have been 6. Oh, that kills. Yeah, I reckon you could have been 6 if we caught the 2 earlier ways from earlier, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And maybe that 2v2 wouldn't be, or maybe that would dissuade them from going in even more. Oh, I mean, absolutely. This is a kill right here, right? Really not can't be allowed to stay here. Cool. Eyes on where's the jungler? He's top side
No
right now.
Thompson.
Yeah. Good response. Was that your ward, by the way, right there?
Mm.
The one right here.
Where?
One here. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Bonus for this ward can be improved by putting it right here. The reason
Okay.
being you see lane ganks a lot earlier, and if they walk into the bush, provided you are looking at bot lane, you know that they're in that bush as well. And it also cannot be cleared if they put a pink ward in this bush, which is the main reason why, actually.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
And you also get a really good TP flank. Although I really hate how they changed TP now, so you can't have like TP flanks at level
Yeah, I think
3.
everybody does.
Yeah, bit sad. It used to be such a good ward. Because you'd be like, okay, I'm back into lane. They're shoving back into you, and they just want to shove it back. And you go top laner, oh, TP, double kill, and now they're just
Yeah.
miserable. Cool. In this scenario, where they bot lane both have 6 and Miles has 6 as well, how do you prioritize if you're going to roam mid or stay bot?
Well, we're hard winning the lane, so that's why I would stay bot. And Pike is a hard lane to gank unless I wait for him to use his dash. Um, so there's like more value staying bot here because if I leave Twitch alone and then he dies, then we just completely lose our lead.
Good, good. We're focusing more on we know that they have a lethal combo if anything lands on Twitch. Therefore, our
Yeah,
deterrent. Yes, sir, go ahead.
they also cleared my pink ward that's usually in the river. So here I kind of think like, do I go mid and like put that back or do I go bot? But they're almost to our tower and I don't want to leave Twitch alone.
Yes. Also, you provide such a good deterrent from Nocturne from diving bot as well with your ult.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
Good, but Twitch says, I want to go in now. My god. What an interesting
Yeah,
champion.
it's really sad we lost this game.
Yeah. Cool. One more really cool thing you can do as a support, by the way. If you are fighting around Drake and you haven't had the opportunity to set up these 2 lanes, the best thing you can do is stand right here and just ward over this wall and this wall, and you've covered both entrances, and you can go back to being a support.
I mean, that's like a safer way to do
Yes,
it.
that's the safest way to see any enemies moving into you if you don't have the time to put down all those
Okay.
wards. Cool. Same thing there. Put the ward in the crossroad. But we knew Nautilus was nearby. Oh, good call. One thing, by the way, that would be also important to track is summoner spells. How comfortable are you with that?
I usually don't do it unless I'm playing with like a team.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So not
and also
necessarily
my chat
timing them.
disabled, so I don't type it.
Not necessarily timing them, but just pinging them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because A, it provides really good information to your jungler about who to focus. You can imagine if you had a flashless support, but an ADC
Mm,
who did have flash, you would rather go for that guaranteed kill over the uncertainty that you might be able to catch
mm,
the ADC. Yeah,
right.
cool. We see knockbot. So what does this mean for you guys? We pull back a
Um,
little bit.
yeah, let me back off.
Yeah,
Moon was kind of hovering, so I didn't know if he was coming or not. Like, if
yeah.
it was a 3v3, we could probably win.
He's demonstrating really good awareness, or maybe he's just lucky that he's here. Um, you walking out like this by yourself is very, very risky. If your team's over here. Cool. I wouldn't be surprised if this broke into a 3v3 in a complete second. Ah, there we are.
Mm,
Great ult positioning. Really good. Cool.
Do you
What
have
do you
any
think?
comments on this, like, little team fight?
Yes.
If I could have played it better, okay.
My initial reaction to it was your positioning is a bit far out to begin with.
Mm,
So if we know that Nox going to ult, I don't want you standing as the front target. I want you to be in a position where you can create space between you and the enemy team with your ult, but still
mm,
manage to peel Twitch when Nocturne jumps on him. Because that ideally should be the first target Nocturne goes for, not Zyra.
right, right.
Yeah. Um, so first thing I would do is just kind of maintain your distance back here. And if they choose to engage, let them make the mistake first, because you have a very good spacing tool with your ult. Yeah.
Mm,
That's what you should think about when you're playing Zyra, basically. Um, so I want you back here to begin with, and then just watch for them to engage onto you, and then you go for it. You go for a play.
okay, yeah, I didn't expect the Nocturnal to hear because I didn't see him on the map, so I thought he left.
Do you know what the range of Nocturnal is?
Um, no, I don't actually.
It's probably where Gromp is towards you guys, so it's quite big actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So even if he's chilling in bush, that's fine. But if he's chilling by like Drake Pit, he probably still has range to ult. So as long as he has vision of you, he can ult you from within that kind of range. So it's kind of big.
Mm,
Really good ult from you here to space the entire area. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. That's really good. Seeing Pike here, your reaction should be, I know he's going to try ult me to get resets,
mm,
and he's probably going to look for a full combo. So what are you going to try flash?
mm. Um, well, if he hooks me, I'm already dead. So if I get hooked, then I'll try to flash the ulti.
Good. Good, good, good. So,
I don't think I do that though.
no, it's very tricky, but to remain kind of like calm and not panic in these kind of situations is hard.
Yeah,
So
I think
that
I'm trying to like spawn my plants here. So when he does go, like I think I just already accepted the fact that I'm dead. So I tried to summon my plant so that when I do die, like he'll be getting hit by something at least.
okay. The reason why we talk about this scenario now is for the next time when you ever put in a tricky pickle like this, is you anticipate what the enemy is going to do. So whenever you see Pike again, whenever you see Knock again, you know Knock's always going to ult these squishy targets, and
Mm,
Pike's always going to try to look for an ult reset. So, conversely, the issue should be I'm going to look for a peel onto my ADC if Nocturne goes on it, and I'm going to try flash Pike ult.
okay.
This kind of thinking can be done in the loading screen if you're really kind of like active and kind of looking for those champion matchups as well.
Hmm.
Good. You guys end up winning the 2v2. Ah, but why would you ult? Why would you ult Nautilus? uh, yeah, oh well. Cool, you guys end up winning the fight, which is really good.
Yeah, so the main thing here was just to like not stand on top of a Momo and Twitch and just like play more back if Nocturne is like looking to ult.
Yes. Oh, you're telling
It
me
was
you want
kind
to
of like
face check this
situation.
area?
Oh, sorry.
You want to face check this area after you know Nautilus is nearby, and Nocturne could potentially be nearby?
What is the cooldown on his ult? Like he would, do you think he'd have it already?
He wouldn't have his ult, but if Nautilus hooks you and Nocturne follows up, you would be a very dead support. Um, so in this case, you'd be like, okay, I know there's wards there, but what I'm gonna do instead is just drop a ward and then back off.
Okay.
It's slightly greedy to be clearing those wards. Like I'd be very, very conservative when it comes to clearing
hmm
without prior knowledge of where jungler is.
I was gonna ask, in this kind of situation where the top laner is super fed and just like pushing like no tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
like do I just keep on doing my own thing as if that wasn't happening, or should we like go respond to it?
You as a support have no duty to respond to a split laner or a split pusher because A, you most likely will not be able to stop him, and he'll probably kill you in the meantime. The best thing you can do against a splitting top laner is create so much pressure elsewhere that he's forced to join the fight to stop his team from dying, basically. So if that means calling for a Drake 4v5, because with the assumption that the enemy team will always lose because of numbers advantage versus the
hmm
pressure that they create from the top lane.
Okay.
Also, if Vayne was a bit more aggressive, I'm pretty sure she'd one shot you here if she
Oh yeah,
ulted.
she could
Yeah,
have gone in on me, but she didn't.
yeah. So be very careful about walking through like this. Good, so they could potentially be on Drake, and we move to approach. So same deal here from me, in that if it takes you a bit more time to follow your team to be in the backline here, I'd much prefer that over trying to follow a Mumu for a flank.
Yeah, I think I'm not really sure where to go because
Yeah,
I think I want to follow him because he's gonna ult, right? And I want to combo my combo on top of his ulti.
yeah. If
Yeah,
he
so
does do
that's my
that,
thought process.
yeah. So if he does do that, you can pop the plant and then just follow him like that if it looks like a good fight. If it doesn't, you'll be able to back up Twitch in the event that Nocturne does ult. Also, Mumu doesn't even have ult. Not at the moment. Okay. Alright, so it does go in your favor. Two notes from me for that fight is firstly, your positioning should be hanging back around here. Your plants
Mm,
aren't going to be doing too much damage to the Drake, so that's perfectly fine for you to hang back.
okay.
Remember, your goal is to prevent any sort of dive line onto your back as well.
Mhm, mhm.
So I don't know if you noticed, but this is what I mean with the 5v4 team fights that you will almost always win because the top laner isn't going to be there. However, your top laner is so behind that she can't even survive a dive under a turret, which is rather unfortunate.
Yeah. For that team fight, I should have walked with Twitch like toward the other direction.
Yeah, around the south side of the
Okay.
Drake pit. Yeah. Ooh, 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 that's a lot of damage.
I'm guessing I shouldn't have gone for that ward.
I
And
think
that's what
you
made me die.
potentially, yeah, knowing, well, we have the ability to rewind and have hindsight here. Um, yeah. I probably would have just E'd backward first instead of queuing and just run. Obviously, just hightail my way out of there.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Camille was kind of the weak point in your team at the moment. Oh, so we know Vayne Flash, so we ping it. Same deal here. We know not is nearby, so we back off. So say you're the enemy team here. Let's flip it for a little moment. What'd be the best use of resources to create pressure for their side?
Um, I mean, is what they're doing here like not good? They're just like continuing to shove top lane with Tryndamere because that's like the person that's most ahead.
And how would you direct their enemy team then?
Um, well, if I were them, I'd just send five top
You'd
and just
send
end the
five top
game.
and just end the game. Okay, interesting, interesting. Do you think in a full
Because
5v5?
Tryndamere's super strong, right?
Sorry.
He has like because Tryndamere's super strong, and he'd probably just kill like all of us.
True. Would you think they would win in a 5v5 versus you guys though?
Mm, no, I think they would because Twitch and I are squishy, and Malzahar, he does have ult, but if me and Twitch are dead, then there's no one else to DPS, and Camille is like nothing.
Yeah.
So I
If
think they would win.
if it came to, yeah, the 5v5 would probably go in their favor because of how ahead they are. Um yeah,
Mm. Yeah, like we fought them. The most I can do is just drop my ulti,
so just
and
run.
then yeah,
Surely we catch the Tryndamere now. Oh, tragedy.
because playing an AP support, I can't really peel for Twitch like an enchanter could.
Yeah.
But that's not the point of playing an AP support, right? And even if I was playing an enchanter, like the game would still probably go exactly the same way.
Hmm. Good. Let's also talk a little bit about about kind of playing from behind as well in this kind of
Mm,
scenario. The best
okay.
thing you can do is prevent any sort of bleeding and just try to provide good vision for your team.
Mm,
So in this case, what it means is A, if you set up a little imaginary line between your towers and remaining structures, so for example, we have our tier 2, and our inhibitor as well, we'll just disuse this quadrant right now because our focus right now is on Drake. But
mm,
essentially, I want good vision coverage around this entire jungle.
mm.
So A, we don't get picked, and B, we might have a chance of stealing Drake.
Right, like in our own jungle.
Yeah, because there's a very good chance that they will just try to. Um... Oh, good pick. Yeah, there's a very good chance that they will try to sit in our jungle and pick us instead.
Yeah, if we're super behind and like I absolutely cannot walk into our jungle,
Yeah.
I'll I'll even just buy like a blue trinket.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm,
Good flash. Oh, but why is your team leaving you?
sad.
Oh, they went to go help. Wait, I want to see how Twitch died. How did Twitch die without ulting? Because he was 1v1ing the Nocturne. I thought for certain that'd
Yeah,
be
it's in
kill
like a
info.
bad
Ah,
spot.
Pike
We're all
ult,
just
Pike
like
ult.
all doing our own thing.
Yeah. So there's like no communication whatsoever. Everybody's kind
Yeah.
of funneling in from different sides. One of the things you also want to think about is their team comp is not your traditional front to back. They are very heavy, kind of like dive the back line, kill the back line, and then
Hmm.
run out. In that scenario, optimizing for a different item would be maybe a little bit wiser. Can you think what that might be?
Like instead of St. Andrews,
No, Leandri's is fine, but second item.
um, probably like demonic embrace.
I was more thinking something towards
Marshy.
Zanya's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's an item that I never buy actually.
Why?
Um, one AP support, I guess I'm not really sure how to use it because if they end up going on me as Anya's and I'm like the damage source, then the rest of my team is dead and then I'll die anyway.
Okay, that's in a scenario where it's a 5v5 team fight. Let's say it was
Yeah.
something different, more like you're trying to clear a ward and suddenly you think you're going to get picked. The Zanya's
Mm.
buys you 2.5 seconds in which your team can run and react to you and turn your pick into a counter pick for your team. So that's
Like
more
when I
my
was topside,
yeah,
like
that
when Pike and Trinity killed me, would Zhonya's or would like a stopwatch have been worth it there?
potentially that might be one of many scenarios. But yeah, that's the kind of idea behind it.
Mm.
Cool.
Okay, most of my play AP supports, I just build like full damage.
Mm-hmm. So you're almost kind of like playing a
Yeah.
glass cannon, if anything.
Yeah.
Cool. Um, Fair. Would you like a quick water break, maybe, before we jump into a little bit
Okay.
about warding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
All right. Let me know when you're back.
I'm back.
All right, lovely. So I wanted to spend maybe 15 minutes also talking about just a bit about the best kind of spots to ward as well. Um, whether that be trait control, Baron control as well. I think you already demonstrate quite a lot of good kind of awareness of what's good to have. But let's hear if you were on blue side and you're looking for um, trait control, where would you put your wards?
Uh, put my wards where that J is, the jungle,
Yeah.
and to the left of that, like that intersection,
Okay.
right, that bush, yeah. And I'd put it in the small bush that's in front of the Gromp,
This one.
and then pink would be in the pixel.
Okay. Interesting arrangement. I'm gonna improve it slightly with the pink. Um, Pink here. For one, if your enemies are imagining you're traveling from that side as well, they're going to not try to face check over the wall. They're probably going to try ward over the wall as well. So what you've generated right here is kind of like a defensive quadrangle where you guys have absolute control. Um, Whereas if the pink was in this bush, yeah, it might give you a bit of warning of heads up if they're coming from this angle. But I'd argue the pink in here would be a lot stronger because it prevents the enemy from knowing what's over the wall.
So would I put that like right before we do the Drake?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
we're
yeah,
on
yeah.
Drake
Yeah.
first.
And you can also clear out any boards that are already
Hmm.
there, naturally.
Okay.
Ooh. Um, let's say let's treat it a bit differently as well. Let's say it is you're on red side now, and you're trying to get Drake control. Where do you go?
Mhm. I would put it in the like rectangle shaped brush next to the raptors.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. And then in the intersection connecting the red buff and I don't know what to call it, like that right there, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Mm. And then the entrance to the jungle. Mm.
This one
uh and no, in front of the red buff.
in front of the red buff. Okay. This one.
No, a little bit more up.
Oh, this one
Yeah, right there. And then my pink would just be in the same place in the pixel brush.
in the pixel brush. Okay. Pixel brush is good idea if you guys are actually doing the Drake though. I prefer the pink to be actually in the pit itself. Prevents any sort of steal over the walls here. Um, One thing about your wards is you don't want them being redundant. So, for example, if this ward is here and this ward is here as well, the information I get from both of these wards is about the same. Yeah.
Mm.
So I'd rather this ward be in the tri-bush instead. So then I've covered both my two routes, and I've got good control over the pit as well. And I have any opportunities to prevent a steal from over the wall.
Okay.
Yeah, good. And Baron is just kind of flip side, so kind of like the opposite as well. One of the things that I saw you doing in your games is you were also very good at providing sort of like deep coverage as well, especially if the jungler is around. So I think your favorite ones were one,
Mm.
two, and that kind of gives you a lot of information before the jungler comes, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about jungle pathing. So if your jungler starts here, or sorry, the enemy jungle,
Mhm.
and they've had to leash as well, what time are they going to be back around bot side?
Um, around like 3 minutes ish, I think.
Maybe a little bit too early. Maybe I'll start off with another question. When does scuttle crab spawn?
Well, Scuttle Crab is like 3 minutes.
A little bit later.
Oh, is it? Oh, I thought it
Yeah,
was 3 minutes.
3:15. So if we imagine this way, you leash for your jungler here, you guys leash, and the enemy leashes as well. how can we tell the pace of the jungle clear by one thing, by one clash of the junglers? Where do you think they'll clash?
Hmm. At the crab.
Perfect. Top crab or bot?
If they start bot side, then top side.
Yeah, perfect. So if they're both gonna work their way towards top and they're gonna clash around the 315 crab, then every single time you play from now on, I want this to be a challenge for you. So between 315 to maybe like 330, because not all junglers can clear that quickly. Oh god, that is not 330. To look up top lane in the middle. If your jungler's there, if your jungler, where's our jungler? Oh,
Mm.
that's okay. If our jungler's there, but the enemy jungle's nowhere to be seen, what can we gain from that information?
Then they didn't do the crab. They had probably like full cleared or something.
Yeah, they probably full cleared, either gone back, or they could be a bot crab. Right.
Yeah.
If your jungler goes recall and you don't know where the top jungler is, chances are they've taken top crab. So at
Hmm.
330, probably when they've taken crab, they're gonna recall and they're gonna look to go back bot lane because of any sort of camps that spawn up again. So with that
Right.
information, they'll probably be around bot at around 4 minutes, 420, that kind of thing. If you as a support haven't used your ward by then, or maybe your second ward will be up by then, you can use that to either predict, okay, are they going to hop over the wall here, or are they going to come through river around this area as well and prevent the gank?
Hmm.
Does that all make sense? That's a lot of theory there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, are you
But this is
following?
only for if they're both starting bot side.
Yes, perfect. So let's cover the other scenario as well. Um, say actually, why don't you tell me? So if your jungler leashes, but they get to lane much quicker before you, so you know that they didn't leash. Tell me what the scenario will look like. Tell me what the path.
Well, our jungler will go top side, and then their jungler will be bot side to do the crab
Okay,
at like 315-ish.
okay. How should that impact our warding?
Um, well, if it's around 315, then this is the time where we would cheater recall. So technically I'd be in base, and
If
then
if we weren't allowed the ability to cheat or recall and we had to stay in lane, how can we prevent being ganked?
then prior to that like 315, if I had that ward, I'd like go put it in their jungle.
Not as far to say into their jungle, but just a quick walk, maybe around 250, just to this wall, and pop the ward over the wall here, should give you all the information you need.
Okay.
If you see the instant jungler walks here, you have more than enough time to back off, back to your turret. So you want to ward that at probably around 250-ish. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good. Let's cover the final scenario as well. So your jungler is going from top to bot, bot to top. Same thing, just parallel lines. Your jungler is going to be bot at 315. Can you influence the wave so that they're going to be pushed into you and that your jungler can basically gank at that moment?
Well, if that's the case, then we wouldn't do the cheater recall. We just
Mm-hmm.
not shove the wave and just let them shove into us.
Great. Good. It's all just a bit of like chess, isn't it? You're seeing like who's going to go where. Are they going to match top that
Yeah,
scuttle
and I'm
crab?
like paying my ADC to stop hitting the minions.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. I hope that kind of makes sense in the first rotation of jungles, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's like the more familiar part to me.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I have no idea where the jungler is.
I completely agree with you, and there's not usually much chance at tracking the jungler other than using your deep wards, which is, I think, something you already
Yeah.
do really well. So, for example, if your ward is here, I would prefer the ward by blue to be up in the crossroads because that just gives you
Mhm.
a bit more time to react. But that's completely up to personal choice. And finally, we talked about if you don't have time to set up your Drake control, you can stand around here very nicely and cover both locations with two wards like that. Same
Where would I
thing
put them if I was on the opposite side?
on the opposite side. I would walk up to here. So you don't the essentials of warding is they don't have to be in a bush to be important, and you never want to face check areas, and you want to place wards over walls.
Mm-hmm.
So I would walk over here, ward this. I would walk over here and ward this. So A, I haven't face checked any areas, and B, I've provided very good vision if they decide to attack from this side or if they decide to attack from this side.
Okay.
You as a support, you'd probably be standing around here ready to move into either alleyway to be on the back line.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing is on the Baron side as well. Oh, that's a little snippet about warding as well. Do you have any questions?
So if I were at the Baron, I'd ward like just over the wall on both sides,
Yep.
not going to the pit, right?
Yeah, because if you're in the pit and say they have a hook champion, oh no, I've been
Death.
hooked. And you get picked, and your whole team says, "Ah, support, what are you doing?"
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a few more. Actually, a few more. Yeah, yeah. So I really like the mid lane pings. But just make sure you're putting them towards your side, so they can't clear them over the wall. And if
Mm-hmm.
they go to clear them, they have to extend a bit further as well. As you move into higher elo, you'll see people putting pinks here as well. If so, say we're on red side right now, they'll put the pink there in order to not get hooked over the wall like this. So that this is a safe passage to channel through.
Mm-hmm.
But we probably don't have to worry about that for now. Cool beans. So
So other than, oh, sorry.
we've talked a lot about warding, which I think is a lot of the focus of this today's session. And I think you asked me about a bit of checklist that you want to gain out today's session. So I think my key targets for you is try to use the 90-second rule. That's split into get your vision down 90 seconds before an objective spawns.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do it, fit in your recall around 40 seconds. If you recall before that, perfectly fine as well, because you're going to come back to your fight with a fresh set of wards and your vision control already set up.
Right.
One of the things I remember you saying, it was really frustrating playing with teammates who didn't know what to do in what scenario and always like they were getting caught, right? We can subtly,
Yeah.
yeah, we can subtly influence their decisions with information that we can provide with our vision. So even if you outrightly ping them and say back off, that area is dangerous, and they don't listen, that's kind of their fault. But if they see the vision for themselves and go like, I shouldn't be there because I know the jungler's here, or I know the support and AD are there, and therefore I back off.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ideal scenario. Um, cool. So I think that would be a really good first target, and the second target for you would be to look at 315 to 313 for Little Crab.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna say something.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about
Mm-hmm.
the pink ward in the river brushes.
Yes.
Other than that one instance you mentioned before when we were doing the Rift Herald,
Mm-hmm.
when would that be a better ward? Like, when would that be a good place to put my pink ward rather than where I usually place it now in the pixel?
When your jungler's also looking to gank from that same side. So say you guys took bot turret and you and your AD rotated both mid lane and mid lane went bot. I know that my jungler is going to be on the bot side clearing, so I'm going to take a sneaky route. I'm going to ward this and make sure he has a really nice path to gank through mid like that. That also could be another scenario.
Okay.
If your pink was in the brush, yeah, you're almost playing defense at this point. You're almost saying, okay, I can see anyone if they're trying to attack us. But if you're in a position to attack and kind of make plays, then this is a more aggressive pink ward area. Yeah.
Okay.
Likewise, you can also stand over here and also drop a normal ward over the wall. This was the kind of flank I was talking about when we're going to siege for tier 1. You cover this
Hmm.
area without exposing yourself, and you can also cover this area.
And then after we take the tier one turret, you said put the ward in the lane.
After no, so if given the opportunity, your ward can go right here outside turret range. If the tier one's still up, because then you can see the mid laner if they roam top side or bot side.
Okay.
Because if you imagine the minions crash right here, they only provide you information up to maybe like that area.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, but that's probably very rare. That's more for mid laners, so don't worry about that actually.
Would you ever do the same thing for bot lane and put your ward in the lane?
Yeah, absolutely. You remember the ward we talked about here?
Yeah.
You can do that as you back. So you've shoved in a turret. You're happy with your recall. I'm just gonna recall in the bush. No, I'm gonna drop the ward and then just recall in the bush.
Okay.
I think that's the majority of the things that you can influence as a support. The rest comes to your positioning, how well you can peel, and that's a bit more of a mechanics focus, which we can talk about in another time if you want. Um,
Hmm.
but I've given you two targets. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, sounds good.
Fantastic. Do you have any other questions that you'd like to cover? Anything about support in general? Anything else?
Nope. I think that's it for me.
Perfect.